G'day guys, an early preview of the Rosehill meeting this coming Saturday, is it the 13th of August, and 6 metre rail, soft 7 at the moment at Rosehill, but the weather does look pretty solid, so around the 6 is probably where it's going to land. Traditionally, the 6 metre rail is probably one of the fairer, especially hard fence. If it's a good track, it can be a little bit leaderish, but with this sort of range, it tends to play like a normal sort of Rosehill track. The last time we had a 7 metre rail was this meeting on the 2nd of July, and it was the hard fence was off, but they sort of typically played sort of inside, get to 2, 3, 4 off in the straight, and pretty fair from there. So that's probably what we're going to be looking at come Saturday. And we start the day with a 1400 metre fillies and mares benchmark 81. Pretty tough race to start the day. Not too much pressure on paper. It looks like sort of frill-seeking Anyas, Talatani, maybe Bells of War up in that first 4 pretty comfortably. I believe that Rustic Melody's already come out, and so has Tennessee Fling. So starting from the top, as it is a bit of a tough race, you got Frill-seeking coming back from 1500. It's racing really well. It's sort of a bit of a strange one for me why it's racing in this distance range, but really to win a race like this, I think they need to try and lead and dictate, and I'm not sure if that'll happen here, but you've got Andrew Adkins taking the ride, the gate on gate 4 to take up the lead, and it will be interesting to see what they do. Anyas is drawn directly outside it, so it'll probably be between them who gets to the rail first, and then maybe Talatani and Extensible rolling forward. Frill-seeking has got a good chance, I'd say, and as good as any. Trev Jesse is in the market. Hard is one I'm looking to oppose. I think it really does struggle at the 1400 metres, even a harder effort backing up off 7 days off that very, very bottomless track last start, where it did have to try and make a run from back in the field. So it's drawn wide, going to get back, and it's the one I really want to be against here. Anyas is an interesting horse, obviously a winkers on, lugging bit again, blinkers off, and a bunch of other gear changes coming back from Melbourne. Its form has been a little bit inconclusive of late, and it possibly can run an improved race. Extensible for me is a very one-paced horse. Is racing well enough to win a race like this. Is drawn ideally to either just sit behind them or basically do whatever it wants to do, and is possibly the horse to beat, but does lack that turn of foot to really make it a dominant force. Labdian was okay first up, not a lot went right there, up to 1400 very quickly. Probably if it had one more run, I'd have it clear top pick, and but it can still definitely win this. And then maybe Bells of War, who's hard fit and racing well. He's drawn a little bit awkward, but with 51 kilos, and will probably roll forward and try and find an on-pace position, and is not the worst in the race. Stiletto Vixen, another one possibly with a chance. Pretty hollow form, but it's that sort of race, and a race that I'll probably be giving a wide berth to. But if I was to play, I'd be saying around Extensible. I think it's very short, around the $2.80 mark, and even though it is the horse to beat, I'd probably mark it closer to the 4-1 mark than the 7-4. So there's a bit of meat around to be found, and I will be playing small. Trev Jesse's obviously the other one I'm looking to oppose. Don't want to spend too much time on that race. Race 2's the Highway, and there really is very little depth to this race. Luxury raises in weight 6.5 kilos, but drops immensely in class, and really if she shows anywhere near her best, she should should beat them. The inside gate's going to help her. She should settle a little bit closer, and she will need a bit of luck, which she always does do. Strike rate of, I think it's 22 starts, 2 wins, 20 starts, 2 wins. Makes life a little bit difficult, but when you're going back through a form and you're looking and seeing that she's been, dominant maiden grade, then beaten a length by Ondina, 1.9 by Nazir, and then run Ale Cheval to a neck, 2.7 lengths Typhoon Jolly Romantic Time, then came out and crushed a field on a heavy track, comes back, beaten half a length, Tender, Looking East, Thorsborn, all this form, 3 lengths Rockalicious, a length in Vienna Ashjada, and then half a length Ashjada again in the Golden Qualifier, I think was it for this meet. That form is just good enough to win this race. She obviously hasn't won in some time, September last year, so she is a risk from that point of view, but she is clearly the horse to beat here. I thought there were a couple of dangers. I really like the run of this horse Farah first up, even though it was down the outside. They had it at 6. It was a lot heavier than that. The track was playing very, very tough, and this leader was actually had won a picnic race, but was coming up from Melbourne and went enormous this day. And Farah, even though it struggled to catch it, Farah's second from the outside here. It puts in really solid effort for a first up run on such a soft track, and he looks the clear, or one of the clear dangers to Luxury, but he too himself gets back and needs luck, so it's hard to have too much confidence in him. But he is drawn a little more favourably, gets Tommy Berry and will run well. The other horse I thought was a clear-cut danger was Know When to Hold Him. He's broke through for his maiden first up in open grade, and then that was only 2 weeks ago on a heavy 10 over 1200 metres. He sat wide, which was not a big disadvantage there, but still worked quite hard, and now comes to town back 100 metres with Winona from an inside gate. He's got a bit of pace, he'll box seat, and if he backs up off that, he's definitely the horse to beat. He's definitely the horse that Luxury's going to have to run down, or Farah, and a very interesting horse in this race. Vixen Lass is a very fast horse, went back to the Ramsey stable this preparation after starting there early. I think it's Tara Boyd had the horse going really well during its last preparation, so I'm not sure what the story is there, but if she shows up, she's also nominated for Tamworth tomorrow in this race. She can give them something to catch, but it is a bit of a worry that she did get beaten 13 lengths first up, even if it was a much stronger race. So she's on trust a little bit, but at big odds is a chance. I think it's around the $34 mark currently. And the other horse that does have ability but struggles to win races is Stop the Fight, and after a good effort first up there, can run a race as well, but we'll need luck from the wide gate. So Luxury, the clear top pick for mine, has everything in its favour here and just needs a little bit of luck. The horse that's definitely an improver and has ability is Know When to Hold Him, but he's coming off a 15-day back up off a very, very heavy track 1200 metre run first up that could well have taken plenty out of its tank. So Farah's the other next pick. Knockout, Stop the Fight, and Vixen Lass in a very soft looking highway. Race 3 is one of the harder races on the day, and another one that I sort of probably will breeze through a bit because I'm not got any confidence whatsoever. It's a race where basically anything can win, and I'd say that the best set up horses are Magical Stance, hard fit, 2 weeks off, coming out of the Esteban form line, which is as strong as anything that you'll find in this race. and they know they've got to ride him stone cold now, and that's how he best responds. So he's going to need luck, but he's definitely going well enough to win a race of this nature. More than fabulous. 2,000 metres probably tops him out, and but they've got Blake Shin, Awkward Gate, these things sort of kind of averaging each other out. It's definitely a contender. Dubai Style was given a perfect run, everything in its favour last week, has to get up 400 metres and back up off that 7 days later. If anyone's going to do it, it's Chris Waller, but hard to have confidence in him. Firebird Flyer, hard fit flying, also chased home on that heavy track last week, which is a query for sure. With a race like this, when you've got Waller with the 4 runners, I'd be looking to take notice of some late betting moves, and if you are to play in this race, which I definitely won't be, they're probably your best guide to which way to go. Race 4, the 1500 metre benchmark 72, and there are a few horses here I am interested in. I thought it wasn't a bad little betting race, just looking at it. Pirate Ben had the 49-day break coming into Canterbury last start, carried the huge weight, carried 58 after the claim. It carries the same here. Have a quick look at where he ended up he's back on the back here, 3 wide with cover for the most of the way, and here he comes in the straight. 1250 short of any distance he's ever won at previously, and you can see he's just a little bit one pace at the end, but certainly doesn't give up, and having 7-week break before that, his effort was very, very strong. He now gets up to a more suitable trip, and even though he's got that wide gate, he's got a bit of early speed over these sort of distances to try and find a position. There is a bit of pressure directly on his inside with Zakonig, who may drag him across into a good spot, so I wouldn't be worried about the gate. A horse that's hard in the market, Lanciato, I can't find it. It just seems a little bit plain for mine. I'm a little bit surprised at how short it is. It looks to draw to have every chance, but I can't get too excited. Got Under's return to form last start when able to dictate there. I thought maybe Leicester might have even gone a little bit too slow on him, but he fought fairly solidly, and he gets another decent on-pace run here. He'll kick up from gate 1. He'll battle away. $8 is probably not too exciting, which is the price he is currently. Water Gains second up, raising quickly in distance, gets the wide gate. It's going to give him a lot bigger start than it did at Gosford last start, and this is not an easy race for it to win second up, but I don't want to discount it completely, but it's not the one I'm looking to find here. The horse that I do think has got a really strong chance, and I did point it out in a recent review, was Zakonig. This was his effort at Kembla 2 starts ago, so fairly solid tempo set throughout. He sat outside the leader. I like horses who can sit out. He sat outside the leader both runs back, and first and second up won them both. But horses who can sit in that position, control tempo, and then find a very nice horse to follow, especially when they look like they're in trouble. So Dr. Sykes is a pretty strong type himself, and Zakonig just refuses to let him past. He then went to town, his next start, and a pretty negative ride, being caught 3 wide, even though they're not going overly hard. It allowed the 2 horses in D9L and the eventual winner Pioneering, who are superior sprinters, like 1200 metres or sit sprinters, to just totally outsprint this horse. And I thought it really didn't do a bad job of finishing the race off quite solidly, considering the slow tempo. So it was heavily pace affected here for mine, and right there on the line you'll see it's as strong as it is anywhere in the race, so it should get outside the lead here. swaps Winona Costin, or Sad Winona. Nick Haywood, Winona Costin now finds Blake Shin. I really think it's set up to run a really strong race here. It gets its chance to improve and drops 3.5 kilos. Goes up 3.5 kilos with the loss of the apprentice rider, but that's the only real issue. The extra 100 metres looks no problem, and he looks very difficult to beat for mine. The other horse that is the query runner, and I am a little bit scared of, is this horse in Tennessee Fling. Comes from the David Aiken stable. He doesn't bring him to town very often, but this horse does look to have above average ability. This is the horse here. On this day it was very difficult to make ground. It's back third last on the fence. It's now in behind here, and I'll show. So it's made ground through the middle, and now behind the leaders. This is a horse having its first start over 12.50. And that late turn of foot is the sign of a very nice horse in the making. It does have no early speed, which is a bit of an issue, but it does get the use of a more senior rider for the first time here. This was its first up win on another day where it was tough to make ground. It never looked the winner at any stage, coming right down the outside fence here. And showed that strong finish again. And Schopenhauer came and won a race after that. This is its last start. We'll just show the straight, where it again just gave a huge start. Another day where it wasn't ideal to be coming from back and wide. And she continues to find the line. The race up to 1500 is a query, but you would think on the way that she has been racing that it won't be an issue. Gate 5, Glyn should settle anywhere a lot closer this time, you would believe. Up in trip, she's got a chance to settle closer and can race well. So here I'm keen on Zakonik. I think that the dangers look to be Pirate Ben and Tennessee Fling, and got on as the knockout in a good, solid betting race. So looking forward to that one. Race 5, the San Domenico, and obviously the highlight of the day is a Group 3 3-year-old race for 150,000. Capitalist saved from last week, which really interests me as he was really well placed there, and it does make sense now though, considering Tycoon Tara's come out and won the race, which was the stable mate. But if it got beaten, you would have thought that they threw away a golden opportunity to win a stakes race there last week. He's obviously the Gold Slipper winner, but I have got a few doubts over all that 2-year-old form. I did see him in person at the trials recently, and he had strengthened up a tiny bit in front, but he doesn't look like he's definitely gone to the next level. So I do think he is a little bit vulnerable here. I think Star Turns, a horse that always looked like he was going to be a better 3-year-old. His recent trials have been really solid. If we just have a quick look at his last trial in the straight here, he's the widest runner. He's a ready-made sprinter that I've got no doubt will be fit enough and ready to go here. And he's a strong animal. And we'll have a look at Capitalist trial as well. Interestingly there you'll see that was a 740 and a 900 metre trial. He's had trials at Warwick Farm and Rosehill, and whereas Capitalist has stayed at Ramwick. And just the 2 850 metre trials. Obviously he's trialled well again here. you'll notice that he's a little bit smaller horse than the one he's inside there. I have got reservations against Capitalist, and I think this horse in Tango Rain, who is obviously in his first preparation, but he's showing signs that he's a very, very good horse who's got all the form around his first start, is strong, and then he's come out and beat Thronham and Hair Trigger pretty solidly, even though he did have things in his favour. He's run good time and done everything right doing it. He does look like he can lead here if desired. Drawing outside Capitalist is quite important for mine for him, and I think he can dictate the race if he really wants to, and I definitely think that both Tango Rain and Star Turner are in a position to really ask a lot of questions of Capitalist here, and I'd be keen to definitely play around Capitalist. I think there should be a lot closer in the market. The three of them, I think there's not a lot between them, and if anything, I'd probably give the edge to Tango Rain and Star Turn in the market before them. The other little question mark over the race is the blinkers going on Kentucky Miss, whether they're going to be keen to fire her up and try and lead. I highly doubt they'll do that. I think they believe she's a better sit sprinter, so I'm hoping she'll stay out of the speed battle, which could play into Capitalist's hands if they do tend to go a bit harder on her. But a good race, and looking forward to it, and looking forward to playing against Capitalist first up for his first run as a 3-year-old. Another 1800 metre open class race, or the other early one was a 2000 metre race, and another race that looks very tough. Another one I'm not going to have too big a strong an opinion in, and I'll probably just say that Marion Ostro is obviously going well. Gets up in trip 1300 up to 1800, which he's never won over before. He's never been stretched past the 1500, 1600 for a long time, apart from the one run which ended in the last run of his preparation last time in, but he's definitely got a good enough grounding to get the distance. He was very well ridden last time in a bit softer race than this, but he's going well. Allergic ran really well first up in that same race behind Marion Ostro. Probably best to look at that. So we've got Marion Ostro outside the leader. It's a very soft tempo. It's played into the leader's hands. You've got Ruling Dynasty here. You've got Sacred Elixir, is it? Sacred Master back last and just getting checked there. And Allergic, who's been wide. All in this race. So Allergic sort of ducking in behind them under pressure. Sacred Master really winding up late against the slow pace. It's probably the run of all of those for mine, as these all had their chance up on the pace, including Windy District, you've seen another race. So it's hard to make a strong case for Allergic or Sacred Master, as they're both probably looking for a bit further and probably need this run, especially with Sacred Master drawing terribly. At least Allergic's drawn in a bit softer, but they both have the ability to win for sure. Loophole's hard fit and really looks well set up here. Sweet Fire, who I think is a horse that will appreciate this sort of trip, but does normally take at least 2 or 3, maybe just another one. It's a run short. Song Laughter's going very well, and Lord Disick's the horse I've got a good opinion of, who probably also needs more racing. So it's probably another race where late betting is going to be the key, and the best way to find a winner in a very open race. If you're playing quaddies, I'd probably go Allergic, Sacred Master, Loophole, Sweet Fire, and maybe Song and Laughter as an informed horse, as a very wide start to a tough quaddie leg. Race 7, 1400 metre open, and we see Cosmic Cube showing up for Chris Waller, having been transferred from the Van Dyke stable when he left to Sunshine Coast. So here's Cosmic Cube back in the middle. It does have good pace if desired. He comes back inside here with the pom-pom. So Smart Volatility, I've got a good opinion of. Didn't have a lot of luck when it went down to Melbourne. Obviously we know Winks and other runners in this race are high quality, so the important part here is that Smart Volatility had 2 run prior to this trial, so it shows how well this horse is going. Cosmic Cube, when he sort of cruises up there late and gets fairly close in a very nice trial for mine. Just the one trial is a bit of a query, considering that he's heading here straight from that effort over the 1400, but he is a very high quality horse for mine and does get an on pace run here fairly cheaply. I think Oxford Poet will come across with Cosmic Cube, and maybe you've got Tester Shadow with the Apprentice on, and the Claiming will be nice and fresh and probably push forward as well. And not much other pressure except for possibly Forget. I wouldn't be surprised if it came across as well. So 4 of them will probably take up the most prominent positions, and I think Cosmic Cube's set to run well. Oxford Poet's obviously going quite well, very honestly, but has had its chance its last few starts, so it's hard to make too many excuses for it, but it does look a winning hope. Strange to see Ruling Dynasty coming back 100 metres. It's obviously got the quality to run well. Forget's a bit of a smoky that I'm interested in. I like when these horses start over a trip that looks a test for them, first up bounce back to a shorter trip that then maybe looks a bit short for them. They run well, which this horse obviously has on both occasions, and then bounce up to a 1400 metre trip here, which does look far more suitable. So I think it's a horse that can improve sharply. Zinzan Eddie's struck form and normally holds it. I see that he's a dual nom for Brisbane as well, where he looks very well placed up there, so I would be surprised if he went to this race, but if he does come, he's got some chance. Tester Shadow is first up, not a first up horse for mine, gets in here with a light weight and probably will run a decent race. Up on the pace, Gold Horizon is one I would throw in the exotics if I'm an exotic player. Huge effort last start over an unsuitable mile trip, really toughed it out strongly there, and back to a 1400 metre here, dropping in weight. It's a horse that could run a place. Shardsy, I'm not sure what to expect. He's been gelded, but he gets a soft run, and this race is probably suitable if he shows up in form that he was in as a 3-year-old. So, an open race, a race that I can't be superiorly confident about. Superior is not a word, but strongly confident about. But Cosmic Cube, definitely the best horse for mine in the race. At this stage, there are horses that probably can improve, but he's the one to beat. I think that Ruling Dynasty's got a chance. I think Forget is a very good knockout hope at odds, and I'd keep an eye on betting for Shards late if there's strong support for him. I think that he's definitely a horse that has the ability to give these a run if he's in the mood. So another good little betting race there. I would be playing probably a medium sort of amount. I'll be medium confidence and betting a medium amount there. So we get race 8, 1100 metre race for the benchmark 92. Really good speed and pressure here for mine, with horses like Decision Time, Harara, Glenborn Dame's already come out, but Open Book will be cooking up. Snoopy's got a bit of speed. Harara, Decision Time, Kangaroo Joy, El Sasso. Even Hidden Worries a chance of trying to find a position up near the front, and that should create at least an even tempo, we're hoping, and that should give most runners their chance. So El Sasso's going well, Gran Punto coming back in distance going well. His Majesty's a first up specialist and has trialled very well and looked really good. I was there that day too at Gosford Trials. He looked to have come back in really good shape and looked like he was ready to go. Kangaroo Joy was scratched from last week. Save for this, I think it was a good idea to do that, avoiding the big weight on that suit track first up, even though it probably would have been suited by the pattern. Snoopy's an interesting horse, having been gelded, no trial. All this form he's had was sort of 1200, the lowest distance he's ever seen. and he's been a winner twice over that trip. But 1100 metres is a little bit different dynamic. They go a little bit quicker, but he's probably really well suited here if he's ready to go, which I wouldn't be surprised. For him to show up with no trial is a good sign. It's an open race. I'm looking for value. I think that you've got His Majesty is going to need a good ride around the $7 or $8 mark. Snoopy and Kangaroo LaJoy around the $3 to $4 mark is probably their price. Gran Punto $12 looks a little bit of value, but they're my four main picks if I'm sort of messing with quaddies and things like that, and probably where I'd leave it. I'd say they're definitely the four best winning chances in the race in Gran Punto, His Majesty, Kangaroo LaJoy and Snoopy. Lucky Last, 1350 metre, benchmark 78, and really tough race to finish the day. Costonati, obviously they went forward on it last week. It was a winning move, and I'm assuming from the wide gate with the pannier on again, claiming that they're going to do something similar. Kanachi also adopted similar tactics last start, and they were a positive result. Night Rocker has drawn inside, so you've got inside-outside pressure, which normally means a solid tempo. In Costonati, I'd be risking. I think 1350 metres is a long way for him, and he's got to back up off that run last week. I'd really be looking to strongly risk him. Night Rocker's going well, and I think ran well last time, and does look well suited here. Road and Drive's got all the ability in the world, but it's hard to unlock it with him. He's a good fresh horse and does look well placed. Salthouse is a very interesting horse, debuting from English campaigns with 2,000 metre form, but that does look to line up pretty solidly here. Any sort of betting move for him, and I'd be keen to play him, or definitely I'd be putting him in quadrellas. Ever So Natural missed the run last week, and it's 3 weeks between runs, rising in distance. That is a little query. I know it's been very wet where he comes from in Taree, so I'm not sure if he's missed any work or not, but if he's ready to go, he's definitely right in it, drawn ideally, and he's right up there with the more talented horses in this race. And then we're coming down to Ware Shaw, who was pretty plain last week, can improve. Coolcraft second up from a long spell and rising in distance quickly, but does have a good ability. Dingu Mountain, who's had the 8 weeks off since winning, has trial, but still a query fitness-wise. Need a positive market lead there. I thought Courts of King went enormous at Kembla Grange last start off a very, very ridiculously slow pace, and can improve sharply if given a similar ride. Obviously needs to gain a run, and I think More to Gain's far better suited here than it is in the earlier race, so it'll be interesting to see where they run it. A really open race to end of the day, and another one where I don't want to have too strong an opinion. I'm going to say that the horses I would throw into something like a quaddie, maybe Night Rocker, Road and Drive, Salthouse, Ever So Natural, and then possibly Wearshaw and Courts of King if he gains a run, and I definitely put More to Gain if he gains a run. So something between those. It's another wide leg and it's a tough quaddie all around. So for the early preview, we've had to go pretty wide in a lot of races. I know it's a pretty tough day, and at this stage I'd sort of be concentrating on the highway, and race 4, race 5 and race 7 are the ones I'm keen to play in. So 2, 4, 5 and 7, and try and chip through a day that does look tough, coming to the end of what's been not an easy winter carnival. So hopefully we've identified a few things there, and I'll come back with a preview closer to the day if there is any big updates with scratchings or things like that, or changes in weather like there was last week. Thanks guys.